Tonight's second episode of the Smarmy Grin podcast is brought to you by the Third Wheel Social Services. If you and your beloved are looking for companionships with an uncomfortable individual that consists of awkward long walks in the park, awkward candlelit dinner conversations, and awkward movie night dates, the Third Wheel Social Services is for you. Welcome. It's September 1st, 2017. It's Friday night. I'm hanging out doing this podcast. Welcome to the Smarmy Grin podcast, also known as the Goats podcast, but that only lasted for one episode. I figured I'll change the name because I really do like the Smarmy Grin name more so than the Goats name. On tonight's episode is called The Little Things. And on tonight's episode, we will be speaking about the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey and the Joel Osteen saga. We will also be touching on Hurricane Irma, another hurricane out in the tropics. Thanks, Africa. And another tropical wave right behind Hurricane Irma. Wow. Can't wait. And tonight, usually what I would like to do for every single episode is just go... We'll talk a little bit in the first segment of national news, a little bit of world news. But tonight it's going to be just Hurricane Harvey. And usually after that, we'll follow it up with some sports, a little bit of entertainment. And the last segment is always going to be the venting segment or the bitching segment. And this is what I'm going to call it. This is what I'm going to call this segment from now on. I did that for the first episode. I really enjoyed it, and it felt like a release, just venting about my frustrations about that certain situation that I had going on that particular weekend, which is the last weekend. And then tonight, I want to vent on this venting segment, the last segment of tonight's podcast, about stupid Florida drivers and shopping centers, because they're popping up everywhere. Another flood-prone area these shopping centers are. And I'm also going to be talking about the ridiculousness that I call college and universities and what goes along with that. I had an issue today that I just want to vent about, bitch about in this last segment. So we'll go on. I'll start talking about that later on. But let's first talk about Hurricane Harvey and the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey. So I'm here in Florida, and I'm here in Central Florida, so I'm keeping an eye out on this. I always do during the summer. You need to. If you live in Florida, if you live in the Gulf Coast, if you live on the East Coast, then you need to be paying attention to all this, especially after all this that just happened in Houston. Like I said before, I have family in Houston. I've been keeping in contact with my family over there. They're doing well, thank God. It looks like the city is the waters are finally receding, so that's a relief for them, I'm sure. And the cleanup has just begun. My aunt started cleaning up her mess with her and her husband. They started cleaning up their mess earlier Wednesday. So a lot of people are just starting to clean up. And if you go on YouTube and you watch the footage, and this is going to be a huge cleanup. Wow. It's probably right there on par with Katrina. Not as bad, but it will be. I don't know what the damages are going to be on a monetary level, but I figured this is going to be like $500 billion. It's going to be a lot of money just to clean all this up, and it's going to take a lot of time for the city to recover. In many ways, New Orleans hasn't recovered yet, but it will, slowly but surely it will. But this is just a big disaster. I never thought that this city was going to get as flooded as it did. I didn't see that coming. They spoke about it. The forecasters spoke about it. They spoke about that the city and that whole region was going to get 40 to 50 inches of rain. It got 52 inches of rain. I believe it got 51.88 inches of rain, if I remember correctly, from the last forecast when they were speaking about the amount of rain that whole area received. So now this storm has moved on from Texas through Louisiana, Mississippi. Now it's wreaking havoc in Tennessee, wreaked havoc in the Mississippi River Valley. Now it's going to go up the Ohio River Valley and it's going to wreak more havoc. So this storm is not done. It's incredible. When it's all said and done, this storm is probably going to cost right around $1 trillion. I hope not, and I hope it's not that costly. I'm just saying that's my estimate. I'm probably wrong, but just looking at how Houston looked like last week and this week, and now at the end of this week and the beginning of this month, September the 1st, it's going to be a lot of money. A lot of money. But it's just money, folks. The city will recover. From what I read today, 40 people have lost their lives because of this storm. So my heart goes out to their families. And I hope everybody there is doing well. And I hope this is going to be a speedy recovery. From all this, I want to give credit where credit is due. I'm not really big into staying or keeping in touch with entertainment or actors or anything like that as far as music. I haven't listened to FM radio in about, 9-10 years. I haven't watched MTV or none of those shows in the last 14 years. So mostly where I get my news is just from the internet radio, YouTube. That's how it's been for me for the last 10 years. And I don't have cable. I do it all through Netflix and Amazon, and I've been doing it that way for a long time. And I've been using my Roku box for a long time, so I get my news through there too. And thank God I did, because everything that you get from your local news and from your national news networks, it's all negative and negative and negative. But tonight, I will give credit where credit is due. I'm not a big fan of Donald Trump, but I will give him a lot of credit. He donated $1 million. That's coming out of his pocket. He donated $1 million to the relief fund down in Houston, down in the South Texas area. Good for him. I applaud him. That's the right thing to do. More people, and what I mean by more people, more celebrities need to do that, regardless of how you feel about the man, regardless of how you feel about his presidency so far, or regardless of how you feel or who you voted for, him, Gary Johnson, or Hillary Clinton. It doesn't matter. The dude did the right thing. So I just want to thank President Trump for doing the right thing and donating that money to that area. Politics aside, The people down there need it. And I hope that whoever gets this money, they're using it the right way. And I hope that they don't pocket it. But you know that a lot of these organizations down there will pocket it, which is extremely, extremely sad. I also want to applaud and give credit to Sandra Bullock. She donated $1 million from what I read on a couple of the articles on Yahoo. Also, The Rock and Kevin Hart, they came out and donated a lot of money. Various other celebrities. J.J. Watt, his organization, I believe I believe what he set up has already brought in $15 million worth of aid. Incredible. And good for him. Good for you, J.J. Watt. I'm a huge fan now. And thank you. Thank you so much. I live in Florida, but when somebody does something right like that from their heart, you have to thank them and give them a lot of credit because they're doing what's right. They're using their celebrity for a great cause, and that's for helping the people down there. So I saw that today, and that really warms your heart as an American citizen, just a resident, as a neighbor. It really warms your heart that a lot of these people down there are going to get help, and they are getting help, thank God. So from there, while I give all this credit to all these different people, I'm going to go back to my rant from my first episode. So I will be talking. My rant's going to be about Joel Osteen. Okay, man, I have to admit, I started watching you back in 2004. I liked your sermons. I liked waking up every single Sunday before I went and played basketball and listening to what you had to say. And I did that for a very long time. And I always thought that your message was always a positive message. So I really enjoyed that aspect of your teachings. So I watched you and listened to your sermons for a long time, for a good, I want to say, 2004, now it's 2017. So for the last 13 years, I was not involved in your church in any way. I just listened to your sermons. I like positive people. I like listening to positivity. And you do a great job of doing that. But with capital letters, but you dropped the ball, dude. You dropped the ball. You truly did drop the ball. There are 2 videos on YouTube by 2 Houston residents that recorded your church being closed on the 28th and the 29th. You came out that Wednesday. You were interviewed by all these different media broadcasters. And you backpedaled. You fibbed. And when it was all said and done with these interviews, you made yourself and your church look worse. It was hard for me to believe in you after watching all that and after seeing these 2 videos. And then stating that the reason why the church doors weren't open earlier in the week or that weekend was because the local government didn't ask for your help. Like I said before, are you kidding me, dude? Seriously, are you kidding me? You're a model for that community. You have been for a very long time. Your church has been there for a very long time. You just did not establish this church over the weekend. You have been there for a very long time. That you have used that compact center for what? Over a decade. Come on, dude. Do you really should Houstonians wait for you to open the doors? You finally opened your doors that Wednesday. That Wednesday after you came on all these different news networks defending your case, which made you look awful, terrible. It made you look like a liar. And I'm sorry to be critical, but that's what you look like. You look like a liar. I'm completely disappointed in you. I don't trust anything you say. I'm sure that now you are doing the right thing. Since Wednesday, you have been doing the right thing. And good for you. And good for the people of Houston. And that's my main concern. I don't really care what you do at this point, as long as you help these people out. But you dropped the ball, man. If you would have come out and if you would have been honest, more people would have believed you and more people would have put more faith in you. But it's over, man. Nobody has any faith in you. And I hate sitting here and I hate judging you and criticizing you because I've been following you for such a long time. But it's so disappointing to see somebody that you truly, whose words you listen to, whose message you listen to, and then you go ahead and do this. And what really ticked me off the most about these two videos was one of these men, none of these two guys had an agenda. Both of these men are Christians, self-proclaimed Christians. One of them is a Caucasian man. The other man is an African-American man. So you have two different people going to your church that Wednesday, that Tuesday and Wednesday, and recording the doors being locked at your church. Now you come on TV and you say, well, the rest of the area was flooded. Our church was flooded. From what I've been reading, it was just the basement area. And from what I saw in these videos, the compact center looked very dry. Okay, so let's say that the compact center was flooded. Let's say that 2, 3, 4 floors were flooded. There's a garage sitting right next to the compact center that was completely dry. And the reason I know this is because these two men recorded the garage that sits right next to the compact center. How many levels is that garage? Like 5 or 6 levels? So even if the bottom level was flooded, you still have 4 or 5 levels that you could have housed a few people there. You could have opened your doors earlier in the week, earlier that weekend, that Sunday. You honestly, you didn't even necessarily have to house anybody. Like I said in episode 1, you could have just said, listen, we are going to be open this weekend. We're going to be open tonight, Saturday tonight, Sunday morning, Monday morning, and for the rest of the week. But because there is a flood and our building is flooded, we will be there handing out goods for people, whatever they need, food, water. We'll be there for you. That's what you should have come out and said. Instead, you waited, you closed your doors to the people. You know who you remind me of? And I hate to bring this up, but you remind me of that preacher from The Walking Dead. His name is Gabriel. And from what he confessed to Rick and the rest of the characters on that show, he said, when the apocalypse hit, he closed his doors to his congregation. He let all of them die and get eaten by all these zombies. That's what you did, man. That's exactly what you did. You closed your doors to your congregation. You closed your door to Houstonians. That's exactly what you did. So your name is no longer Joel Osteen to me. Your name is Gabriel from The Walking Dead, man. That's you. That's what you did. But you can redeem yourself right now. You can redeem yourself. And this is what you're doing right now. This is what your church is doing. Just like the character in The Walking Dead, Gabriel. He has redeemed himself. So you will too. But it's completely disappointing in anything and everything that comes out of your mouth. I'm not going to be able to believe any longer. So this is how I feel. I know a lot of celebrities have come out and they all feel this way. And I'm just disappointed. Disappointed in you and disappointing I'm disappointed in the fact that I listened to you for such a long time and watched you and enjoyed your sermons, and you being a preacher and you being the pillar of the community, you were not there for your fellow man, for your fellow citizens, for your congregation. So that's completely disappointing. And I hate being critical. It really bothers me being critical about you and your church, but I have to be critical because you let us all down, man. Everybody that listened to you, everybody that has followed your teachings for this long, we're all disappointed. And this week just shows that you're not the guy that you make yourself out to be. All right, enough Joel Osteen bashing. But what I would like to say though is that if you are going to donate, I hope that you guys do your research before you donate anything, even to the Red Cross or various organizations. I would say donate to the Red Cross would be a great place to donate. But I've seen so many different places where people are setting up funds and stuff like that, or just accounts for different organizations. And you have to be careful, do your homework, and make sure that your money is going straight to the people that need it, not people that are going to pocket the money that's being given. So just be careful. I was having this conversation with a friend of mine from work, and he brought it up, and I didn't think about it. I was like, you know what? There's a lot of places that people can donate, and sometimes because you want to help out so much that you don't really think about or do the homework of the places or organizations that you're donating to. You really don't know their background. So what worries me is that there's a lot of people that are going to take advantage of this situation. So the money that has been given and has been donated, I hope it goes to the people that need it, not to the organizations itself. I hope it just doesn't sit there and goes into that particular business or organization's pocket, because I want to see that money go to the people that need it, and that's where the money should go. So I would say if you're going to donate to anybody or any organization, donate to the Salvation Army. First of all, I would do a background check, not a background check, but just go on Google and do some kind of web search on the people that are the heads of these organizations, like your CEOs or CFOs. Because we had a situation here in Florida and in our blood bank center, where the CEO or CFO or whatever was making tons of money of people donating their blood. And this happened a while back ago, a few years ago. And a couple of the local talk radio shows here brought that to light, and it became a big scandal. And obviously, residents here were up in arms. They were really disgusted by the amount of money that the head of the blood bank was making. These blood bank centers were making at that time. And that's the first thing that I would look into. I would look into how much these people are making, these people that are running these places. And if you think that they're making oodles of money that they shouldn't be making for a charitable or an organization like the Red Cross or a blood bank or the Salvation Army or places like that, I would just do your homework before you donate your money and make sure that all of your money goes to the people that need it, not to the person that's running these organizations. So That was I didn't even think about that until my coworker brought it up, and I thought that was a great point. And it's something to be cautious of, because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to take advantage of this. There's going to be a lot of people, a lot of sick people that are going to be doing this. You already have people that are gouging prices out in Texas. People are going to do that. You already have looters. For crying out loud, man. How can you loot? I saw footage of people looting this electronic place. I'm not going to name the place, but it was still raining. This was like Tuesday morning. It was still raining, and they were carrying TVs. They were looting TVs out of this business. And I'm sitting at home and I'm like, are you kidding me? Seriously, it's raining. Where are you going to take that TV to? Where are you going to hook it up? Because chances are you're not going to have power or electricity for a couple of weeks. And when you do plug that thing in, it's not going to work because it's wet. But what I hope that it does happen, that is when you do plug that thing in and you have your power back, I hope that crap electrocutes you for looting that place. Because it's disgusting. You shouldn't be doing that, and you shouldn't be taking advantage of businesses, of all these businesses that are also suffering, just like you are. A good neighbor doesn't do that. Come on, we're better than this, people. We can't be this low life. So that's going to happen. When natural disasters like this happen, that you're going to get that in society. And that's extremely disappointing. Extremely disappointing. But I'm just sitting at home and I'm like seriously. It's raining. It's still raining. The store is flooded. The streets are flooded. And you're looting this place for a TV. Are you using this TV as an umbrella? Buddy, is that what you're doing? Are you going to use this TV for an umbrella? I mean, these TVs don't weigh that much anymore. They don't weigh that much. So I guess you can use that as an umbrella. If that's what you were doing it for, okay, I understand. But chances are that's not what you were using that for. So it just boggles my mind what's going on with a lot of these people. And I saw a shop owner, a business owner. He was another article and footage that I saw on YouTube. The guy, I think this went viral too. This guy was sitting out there with a shotgun, and he was telling people, "Hey, don't even come to my store. Don't even think about looting my store, because I will cut you down." And good for him. I applaud you, sir. That's the right thing to do, and that's what a lot of these business owners should be able to do if your stores are being looted. It's ridiculous. Come on. God, I mean, honestly, I would understand if you were looting for water or maybe food for your kid or something like that, but seriously, a PS2, a PS3, a PS4, for God's sake, man, an Xbox One, a Dreamcast. What's next? What are you guys going to loot? Ataris? NES? What else? What else are we going to loot? It's ridiculous, man. And where are you going to put this? Where are you going to put all these items? Jesus, I mean, come on. Have decency, for crying out loud. But I was applauding the store owner that was protecting his store, because I would be the same way. I would be protecting my business or protecting my home, because I'm going down with the ship and nobody's taking any of my treasures from my ship. So I applaud the man. Good for him. I commend him. Real quick, I don't want to rant about this whole Joel Osteen thing, but I read online too that Tyler Perry donated $1 million to this Joker, Joel Osteen, and $250,000 is going to Joel Osteen. And man, oh my God, that was like, I'm like, seriously, bro, what are you doing, man? This money, I rather Tyler Perry just go down to Houston and start just handing out cash, man. Like, just go down there and start handing out $100 bills to every single person you see out there. Then give $250,000 to this church, because I don't trust this church anymore. And I hate to backtrack from going from this topic to this other topic, but this really bugs me. This whole Joel Osteen thing just really bugs me, and the fact that Tyler Perry came out and donated $1 million and $250,000 is going to Joel Osteen's church. I mean, this is according to Yahoo. This article on Yahoo, and it's completely ridiculous, man. If you're going to donate $250,000 to anything or $1 million, donate it to the Salvation Army, straight to the Salvation Army, or smaller organizations, or smaller businesses, or donate it to the Mattress Mac. Because everybody knows about the Mattress Mac. They were the very first ones to start helping out their community, way before Lakewood Church, way before Joel Osteen. They were the first ones. Various churches and mosques were also doing the same thing. Daycares, bunch of different businesses all around town were doing the same thing. So why don't you just donate that money to all these places that I just spoke about or that I just mentioned? Donate it to the Mattress Mac. God, like I said in the first episode, like, as soon as things recede and things dry out and things get better in Houston, I need a mattress. I'm driving all the way over there, spend some time with my family, get a mattress, and come back with that mattress so I can say that I bought that mattress over there, because that's a reputable business from what I'm seeing. This business, they're endearing themselves to the community, and good for them, for doing that and for being there for their community. And let me, I love doing this, and there's some on this Joel Osteen, Tyler Perry article. There's a lot of reaction posts on Yahoo, so let me read a few of them just for entertainment purposes. So, one of the guys here wrote, giving dollars to a rich tele-liar who hasn't even gotten his hands wet during this whole ordeal. Geez, why not search out the pastor and his people from the small church who were out in a flat-bottom boat rescuing the peoples during the worst of the storm? Their church was destroyed with nothing left. Makes me wanna hurl. And see, this is what I'm talking about. You have all these smaller churches that are not well known, but yet their pastor and pastors are out there helping out their community when they have nothing to give. And that's the way that Christians should be. And I'm not going to make this into a religious thing. I am a religious person, but I'm not a devout Christian. But when the right thing needs to be done, you should do it, especially in your community. And this guy dropped the ball. Joel Osteen completely dropped the ball. Let me read another comment. Problem with that donation to Osteen, this is talking about Tyler Perry, is that it will go into his pockets. And I will completely agree with that. And that's what I'm worried about. This other guy writes, typical religious hypocrites. And see, this is what I mean. When you act, actually, you don't even act, but when you do nothing for your community, people are going to criticize you, and then they're going to say you're a hypocrite. But not even you. They're just going to generalize the whole Christian community and call everybody. So you basically made yourself look hypocritical, but you're also making the rest of the Christian community look hypocritical. And that's not good, man. Don't lump everybody in with what he did or what he has done or what he did earlier in the week. When this other guy wrote, "That's fine, as long as the other $999,000 goes to the victims." And I completely agree. All right, this other guy writes, "Tyler Perry takes advantage of dumb black people with his lowbrow movies, while Joel Osteen takes advantage of dumb white Christians by selling Jeebus, a match made in heaven." This is the first time I've heard anybody use the word Jeebus. What's going on, man? I'm telling you, you people, you need to start reading all these reactions to all these different articles. This is it's just funny. All right, here's another post. "I mistakenly thought Perry was smart." I can sit here and say that I've never watched any of his movies, so I'm not gonna. So I'll just leave it at that. "You gave the money to the wrong people. This church doesn't need more money. What a waste." Oh, man. Wow. "I knew Tyler Perry was lame, but I didn't know he was stupid too." Oh, man. There's another reaction post. "No one is jumping to conclusions. Those in Houston have seen Joe milk this city. It's people and others across the country for years. What pastor lives in a $10 million house? What complete BS." Like I said before in episode 1, our very first episode, I'm not going to judge the guy as far as like his lifestyle and stuff like that. That's not really for me to judge. All right, here's another post. He goes, "Perry makes Scientologists seem sensible." Oh, man. Oh, boy. Oh, this is a good one, too. So, like I said, this guy, Joel Osteen, reacted late. The only reason why he reacted was because he was guilt into reacting and because he was being criticized that weekend, that Monday, that Tuesday on social media. So that Wednesday, when the water started receding, he opened up his church. So while he was doing that, the Cajun Navy was out in Houston, was out in Texas. I don't think they made it to Houston, but they made it to areas in Texas. They were out there rescuing people. People from neighboring states were out there helping out. But guess what happened? The government, the local government or the state government, did not ask these people to help, but they were out there helping, unlike what Joel has done, because he waited, as he stated in various news networks. The city didn't ask us. That's why we haven't opened our doors. We're waiting for the city to ask us. Come on, dude. Oh my God. All right, so I'm going to read this post here. Maybe give the $250,000 to the Mexican bakery where the trapped workers spent all night baking bread to hand out to victims because it was the right thing to do, not because of bad publicity. Like, seriously. And I'm going to leave it at that because that says it all right there. So this Mexican bakery, I don't know if you guys heard of this. They baked bread all night, all day for I don't know how many days so they can send it out to the people, the victims, the people that were hurting in the Houston and South Texas, and the people that were hurting in Houston and the Gulf and along the Gulf side of Texas, the southern region there in Galveston and Port Aransas and that whole area. So this Mexican bakery, and we're not talking like a Mexican American bakery, we're talking about a Mexican bakery, the country of Mexico. These people worked relentlessly for days making bread so they can send all this stuff, all this bread to the victims, to all these displaced people that needed food. And that's awesome. That this bakery did more in 3 days and 4 days in the beginning of the week than Joel Osteen did that whole weekend, all the way up to Tuesday. So I'm gonna leave it at that. But man, he is getting hammered. He is getting hammered. And rightfully so, because there's a lot of ticked off people in Texas. There's a lot of ticked off people around the country who basically saw his inaction and saw his posturing as hypocritical of what he does for a living. And like I said earlier, it was completely disappointing. And but listen, so for me, doing this podcast is fun. And I don't want to bash the guy, and I don't want to, that's what it sounds like that I've been doing, bashing him. But he did open his doors, finally open his doors, that Wednesday. So I hope that he's helping out, which he is, and I hope that he'll help out a lot of people, and I hope that the money that he got from Tyler Perry, he's going to use it the right way and not pocket that money. So I'm hoping that he will do the right thing from now on. So I'll leave it at that. And now, lastly, our last segment, which is the vent, our bitching segment. I usually do this part of the hour, like I usually do. I want to do a sports update or anything like that, but tonight, just because of Hurricane Harvey and Irma and all that, we're gonna talk about that. And now we're just gonna go to our last segment, which is the vent. And tonight, I want to talk about what happened to me earlier this afternoon. So earlier this afternoon, I get off of work and I go to the east side of town. I live in Central Florida. So I go to the east side of my city, which I haven't been to in a long, long time since I graduated college out there. So I try to not go to that side because traffic in my city is awful anywhere you go. The east side is awful. And that's the reason why I don't go out there. The problem with our cities here in Florida, and this is the problem that I saw in Houston, and this is the problem that engineers and urban planners were talking about that are from the Houston area, is that urban sprawl is getting out of control and got out of control in Houston. And that's the same thing that's happening here in Florida. And when people in the past have said that Florida, because of all the sinkholes we have, is going to sink someday, people laugh at that. Ha ha ha. A lot of the natives laugh at that. I do too. But I wouldn't be surprised if it did happen. We have too much of a concrete jungle going on and not enough of our native jungle. Most of Florida, especially South Florida and Central Florida, most of these lands are wetlands, and we're building on these wetlands. And my observation today was, and I was speaking about this with a friend of mine who's an urban planner a while back ago. We were having this conversation a couple of years ago, and he's an urban planner. And what he mentioned was what I noticed today on my way, because I had to go to my. I'm taking a couple of classes at the local college right now, so I had to go to the college campus on the east side of town to pick up my books. It's a Friday afternoon, so I figured, I'll just drive down there. I get to the school, not too many kids. It's Labor Day weekend. All these kids are going to be out partying, so I'm not going to deal with any long lines at the bookstore. So on my way to the school, I'm going down this area by the airport. The airport's on the south side of town. So I'm on my way to the bookstore. I'm leaving my job, and I just start noticing and just reflecting on what's been going on in this area for the last 20 years. This area where the airport sits used to be nothing but farmland, small ranches, and stuff like that. There's a huge park. It's still there. But where this park sits 20 years ago, and even 10 years ago, there was nothing but land. There was nothing but small farms, small little ranches, and that was it. And maybe like a business here and there, and that was it. In the last under 10 years, this area has been overdeveloped. So I'm driving down, and I almost hit like a couple of cars because I couldn't see the lanes. I couldn't see the lanes because there are the paint on the lane that divides the lanes are gone. Those dividing lanes are gone. So that conversation that I had with a friend of mine a couple of years ago, it just came to my head as I was noticing that when an area starts growing and it's not done growing, the city is not going to go in and spend that money to repave that whole area until it stops growing. That's what he told me, and that's what I've been noticing, not in this area, but other areas around town, and he's absolutely right. So, how much more is this area going to grow? How much of our natural habitat are we going to lose here in Central Florida? We are losing a lot of land here, and we are overdeveloping Central Florida. It's ridiculous what's going on here. It should be illegal, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because there's nothing but shopping centers over there. But a lot of people will counter that with, well, shopping centers brings in jobs. Industrial areas, industrial parks brings in jobs. Okay, I get that. I understand that. A city needs that. It needs those jobs. But at what cost? And the reason why I ask this is because of what just happened in Houston. That area has been overdeveloped. That area has a population of 3 million people. The city has been growing and expanding. And all you see is concrete jungles everywhere. Neighborhood here, shopping center here, buildings here, all this. This is what's going on and has been going on in Houston. It's the same thing that's been going on here in Florida, in Jacksonville, in Miami, in Tampa, in Orlando. This is what's going on here. So, if we get a hurricane like Harvey that sits and hovers over Florida for 4 or 5 days, the same thing is going to happen here. The same exact thing that happened in Houston is going to happen here. I hope it never happens. I hope it never happens, because I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that happening in my state or any of the cities, and I just hope it never happens. But the potential of something like that happening here, to me, in my opinion, is very high. The reason why, it's because we're surrounded by water. We have the Atlantic on the east. We had the Gulf of Mexico on the west. And we have many lakes and rivers, springs. We're surrounded by water. If we get a hurricane like Harvey here, the whole state, not the whole state, but a good section of the state, like Central Florida, Northern Florida, South Florida, will be inundated. It's just not going to be one city. It will be cities. The same thing that you just saw in Texas will happen here. If we keep growing the way that we're growing with unnecessary growth. And this is the reason why I dislike driving anywhere around this town. Not mentioning the many idiot drivers that live here. Let's not even get into that, because that just drives me crazy. But anyways, I noticed that on the way to school. So I'm sitting in traffic, and I finally get to school. Thank God for shortcuts, because I know plenty of them. So I get there just in time, and I'm there to pick up a couple of books. I go to the lady that's helping everybody out there. I go to her and I ask her, listen, I'm looking for these 2 books for these 2 classes. I give her the name of the class, the name of the book, the course number, the section number. And she's like, well, I don't see him here, so you're just going to have to log on. You're going to have to bring up your schedule so I can see specifically what you're talking about. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, lady, I have my 2 syllabus here, and everything that I need as far as these books are on my syllabus. She's like, no, but you still need to go online and just print out your schedule. I was like, lady, how am I going to print out a schedule when the only thing that I have to use is my phone? And these concrete bunkers that you call a school, it's hard to get reception in here. And every time I use the Wi-Fi here, or I have used it in the past, I haven't been there in a while, but the times that I've used it in the past, it's shoddy. So I don't want to get into that aggravation of logging in to my school account so I can access my Wi-Fi, so I can get into my account. Lady, I have the paperwork that you need right in front of you. So then she tells me, well, I can't help you without your schedule. I'm like, oh my God, bro. I'm like, all right, listen. I had to deal with traffic. I had to deal with all these idiot people just to make it here. You people should give me a freaking medal for just making it here because of all these idiots that are on the road. Not even that. Overdeveloping's killing me too. My God. Oh. So, I'm frustrated. This place closes at 5. At this point, it's like 4:40. I'm like, oh my God, man. Like, I really don't want to come back here again. I can't come back here Monday because it's Labor Day, so it's going to be closed. So now I'm going to have to wait till Tuesday. I don't want to come back here Tuesday after work because it's going to take me 2 freaking hours to get here when it should only take me half an hour. God. So after 10 minutes of trying to log into this damn website on my phone, I finally get on there. So I pull up the information. So she finally finds my book, but she keeps asking me the same questions as she asked me before. And I just wanted to tell this lady, what's wrong with you? I just told you like 10 times what I'm looking for. We're sitting in front of the book, and I'm like, this is what I'm looking for, and I didn't even need your help. So coming to find out, one of these books they have, the other one is, because they're both internet-based online classes, the other one was basically a card that I had to buy. So she's telling me this, and I'm like, oh, are you serious? And she's like, yeah, you know, we got this book, we found it. I'm like, yeah, right, lady, I found it. So then she's like, but you're going to have to go, when you're cashing out, talk to the cashier and tell her that you're looking for this registration card. I'm like, oh my God, because I already know what's coming. In my head, all these different scenarios go. I spoke about this in episode 1. I get anxious anytime that I walk into any public place, not because I'm uncomfortable with crowds or anything like that, because I'm uncomfortable with the stupidity that I have to deal with all these people. That's the reason why I'm uncomfortable, not because I'm uncomfortable with talking to people, meeting people. No, I'm a social person. But my anxiety attack comes in because I got to deal with all these stupid scenarios and all these idiotic people. So I'm like, oh my God, man. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So like, I have to go to the cashier now. Granted, I got to pay for the book. But now I got to ask her about this registration card. So I go up there. And I go, listen, I'm paying for this book. And I need this registration card. So she starts asking me the same questions that the last lady asked me. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, are you kidding me? She's like, we cannot find, I cannot find that registration card if you don't give me more information or be more detailed on your ID or about your ID. So I'm like, oh, come on, man. You got to be kidding me. I just want to find this registration card so I can get the heck out of here. So I give her the syllabus and I'm like, listen, this is what I need. This is the registration card that I need. It can't be that difficult. So the chick, God bless her, she was really cool, but she kind of sounded like Tommy Chong. So the whole time that she's replying and answering my questions, she's like, yeah, man, man, yeah, bro, it's my first day here, man, And I'm like, oh my God, this is not what I want to hear. Your first day here. So let me get this straight. Your first week, your first day, you're behind the register. You shouldn't be behind the register running any type of computer program that you're not used to. You should be out there helping people look for books, not back here, because I know this is going to take forever. So she's like, yeah, man, let me just go out back and see if I can get this registration for you. I'm like, oh my God, bro. Oh. So now I'm already into like 10 minutes in line. I'm sure the people that are standing behind me are ticked off because I'm taking forever. And I'm like, at this point, I could care less, man. You're going to have to wait. So she goes back there. She starts looking for this thing. She can't find it. She comes back and tells me the same thing. Oh, I can't find the registration, man. I mean, it's my, I'm sorry. It's my first day here. I'm like, it's cool. I'm like, don't worry about it. Let me just pay for this book. She's like, oh, okay, you sure? I'm like, yeah, just let me pay for this book. And she's like, so she hands me this flyer, and she's like, listen, you can go online and buy this registration, man. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Let me just pay for the book. All right, can I see your credit card? So I take out my credit card, take it out of my wallet. So she gets my credit card. She's like, can I see your ID? I'm like, yeah, no problem. So I give her my ID, which is my license. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, but this is not going to do. I need your license. I need your school ID and your student number. And I'm like, are you kidding me? She's like, yeah. I'm like, so what's the issue? You have my credit card. You have my ID. They both match. Why do you need my student ID to pay for this freaking book? I didn't say it like that. I said it politely. And she's like, well, you know, this is the school policy and this is what we have to do. I'm like, oh, man. All right, so I'm going to start doing the voice because I'm getting annoyed now. So, so she's like, this is school policy. And I'm like, oh, my God, you got to be kidding me. So I'm like, I don't have I don't have this school ID because I haven't taken any classes at this school in the last 13 years. I started community college here. And I ended it at the university. I haven't been to this community college in over 13 years. I'm like, this is what I'm telling her. I'm just a transient student. So I pull out my university ID because I'm taking a couple classes over there, and I go, this is my ID from school. If you need an ID, you already have 2 IDs plus my credit card. What else do you need to verify my identification? My ID. My student ID, they both match my face. My God. So I'm like, oh. So she's like, well, you know, you're going to have to go back into your phone and just, you're going to have to, you know, give me your student ID. I'm like, oh, are you kidding me, man? So now another lady comes over and she's like, what's the issue here? And I'm like, oh, here we go. So, well, you know, he hasn't, the girl that I was speaking to the whole time, she tells her manager or whatever, well, you know, I need his, you know, his ID, his student ID. And she looks at me and is like, yeah, we need your ID. At this point, I'm like, am I like in an episode of Seinfeld? What the hell is going on here, man? Oh my God. I'm like, these are the book Nazis, man. This is what, these people are the book Nazis. So I'm like, so the manager grabs my phone and she's like, listen, she doesn't grab it. She's like, can I see your phone? I was like, yeah, do you have the website pulled up and your student? I'm like, yeah, it's right here. Look, here's my student ID. Yeah, but that's not what I need. I'm like, she just said I needed my student ID. Yeah, but I need you to go here. I'm like, oh my God, here's my phone. So she starts scrolling over my phone. She walks away with my phone. At this point, now I'm pissed off. I'm like, do not take my personal possession. Do not take my phone. I don't like people touching my crap because I don't know where your hands have been. I'm like, I'm getting older and I'm a germaphobe now. I don't want you touching my phone. I really don't. I don't like people touching my phone. When I'm at work, I don't like people touching my phone. I'm using hand sanitizer to wipe everything down. I'm going downtown, wiping my phone down every time after somebody uses it. I hate people using my phone. I'll let you borrow my phone if there was an emergency or something like that. But it wasn't an emergency. So this lady walks away with my phone. At this point, I'm so mad. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I remember a time in a day where you can come into a bookstore at any school and pay with a credit card or debit card, show your license, show your credit card. As long as the 2 of them were valid and as long as the 2 of them matched, you were good to go. So now, not only do I need a driver's license, a credit card, but I also need a school ID. I need the student information number, which is my number. What else? My social security number? What, my birth certificate? What am I doing here? What am I going to need? Like my cable bill? You're going to need that? What else are you going to need, lady? Oh my God, I was so mad. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, man. There was a time in this country where you can just walk in to a bookstore anywhere and give them your credit card and your ID. I get that. I understand that. But why do I have to present various identification papers to these people? I was so upset. And now in my head, I'm like, all these conspiracy theories are true. The government wants a paper trail of your crap. so they know where you're going and where you've been. And this is completely disturbing. I was really disturbed by that. It really, really bothered me. I don't know if other people feel the same way, but it really bothered me. I was like, I don't want nobody. Listen, and my license and my credit card should suffice this purchase. I shouldn't need more paperwork, more identification to buy a damn book for my class that I'm taking at your school. I've already paid a boatload of money to take the class. Now I gotta pay a boatload of money for this book. So I finally pay for this crap. I get my phone back. I'm so ticked off. So I leave. Get in my car. And I'm on my way home. But the story doesn't end there. So on the way home, I realized that I needed to stop and pick up some soap. I needed to stop and pick up some OJ because I've been sick. Because of the last episode, my very first episode, I spoke about why I got sick. So I'm like, I'm going to stop and get some more orange juice. So I stop and get more orange juice. And I'm telling you, in life, whenever you're aggravated, whenever you're ticked off, it's the little things that make a difference. So I walk into the store. In my head, I already know what I'm going to pick up or buy, because dudes, we're like that. A man is like that. We go to the store, we have a handful of items that we're going to buy, easy in and out. So I already know my items in my head, what I'm going to buy. So as soon as I walk into the store, I make a right. And I'm telling you, it's the little things that make a difference. And it's the little things that make your day. And whatever situation you're going through that day, or you've been through that day, whatever aggravation that you've gone through that day, when that little thing appears, it makes everything worthwhile. It makes everything that you've been through worthwhile. And as soon as I made that right turn into that aisle, on my way to that OJ, I saw a bottle of Louisiana hot sauce for $1. A big bottle for $1. My God, that made my day. I had the biggest smile. I had a skip on my step. I was so excited to see that, because I usually see the smaller Louisiana hot sauce. And this bigger bottle of Louisiana hot sauce was only $1. And I absolutely love Louisiana hot sauce. And it was fantastic seeing that. It completely made my aggravation at the bookstore worth it. So folks, it's the little things that matter in life. And sometimes, even if it's a bottle of Louisiana hot sauce, will make a huge difference in your life. So I'm starting off the week awesome, because I have my hot sauce here back at home, my Louisiana hot sauce. In my opinion, it's the best. So I'm already starting my weekend off awesomely. I'm starting it off the right way. So thank you, Louisiana hot sauce, for saving my day and my weekend and bringing a big smile to my face. And I'll end that podcast, and I'll end this second episode of our podcast. And thank you for listening, and I hope that you guys have an awesome week. And please donate to the hurricane relief funds anywhere, Red Cross or Salvation Army. And I hope you guys have an awesome week. And I will talk to you next time for episode 3. And thanks for listening. See ya!